Welcome to Spotlight Torrance, where we're exploring your city. I'm Christy Wilcox, and we're checking out microbreweries today. We're in Torrance, that's ranked one of the hot spots in LA County for craft brewing. I'm going to talk to Henry, one of the owners of Monkish Brewing. Let's go check things out. Hey Henry, Christy, nice to meet you.
Hey Christy.
Thanks for bringing us into Monkish Brewery. Tell me, how do you get this whole thing started? How do you learn how to brew craft beer?
Oh, it's the way I learned it. Actually, with the new wave of craft beer going on right now, I would say most people that are starting these little craft breweries are in some way home brewers. And so they're brewing at home and they feel like this is the next step. And that seems to be a good majority of the new breweries right now.
Is that how you learned how to brew craft beer?
Yeah, so originally before this, have a PhD in theology, lecturing at universities, and then the goal, well, one day I decided to tell my wife I wanted to homebrew just for a hobby, something to unwind.
This is a pretty substantial project. How do you go from like making a few bottles of beer at home or however many to, this is a pretty big responsibility, right?
Yeah, actually my homebrew setup is up there. You can just see the Home Depot coolers and the little glass carboy. So that's 5-gallon batches, and then the kettle right here, this thing was my boil kettle. The cooler and this pot basically mimics the brewery here.
Okay, Henry, let's take a walk around because I'm kind of curious what's going on inside here. There's a lot of brewing, obviously. So
yep. Right here, this is our brew house. This is where we make that kind of like yeast food, basically. A very sweet liquid. So on the other side of the wall, there's a mill that crushes up malted barley, and it goes into the tall case. That's just a holding vessel. Then we let it in with hot water into this first tank, which is a mash tun, and there we're making like a cereal watery oatmeal. Basic idea, if you take like oats and you add hot water, you mix it around, then it gets sweet. That's how you get oatmeal. So very sweet liquid. And then what we do is then we drain just that liquid, rinse it, collect all that sweet liquid, transfer to the boil kettle. And in the boil kettle, we boil it for about an hour to hour and a half, add hops, spices, and then after that, we'll transfer it to one of these fermenters. So here, this is a 15-barrel system, probably your average size for a brewery, a small brewery like us. 15-barrel system equals 465-gallon batches. So it's like 6 to 8 hours making that food. We transfer to a fermenter, we add yeast, and now we have beer. It takes about 3 days to a week for the beer to ferment. It'll consume sugar and it'll vent off CO2. So here, like that bucket right there, it's just venting off CO2 from the process.
Do you have a specific day of the week that you start this whole process, or it's just whenever
It's the schedule of the beer. The beer dictates when. Some days I have to push brewing to the following week, following day, because the yeast is taking its time.
Are you the beer tester? Because someone has to come in and be like, it's not quite ready yet.
Yeah, but you come in at 9 in the morning and then you're sampling all the tanks, and it's not enjoyable at all, because by like 9:30, by 9:30 you're exhausted and wiped out.
I can imagine. I mean, that's a tough job tasting beer.
One thing we do here too is we have oak barrels, and we have bourbon barrels and wine barrels. And what we do with the bourbon barrels is we put beer into barrels that once held bourbon to extract the bourbon flavor, 8 months to a year usually. And the wine barrels,
that's great. Okay.
Yeah, wine barrels, what we do is we put wild yeast and bacteria for it to sour. So we're trying to make a sour beer.
Okay.
Very nice tart acidity that will come through if you do it right.
And we're going to test some of those out later. So after the break, we're going to check out more microbrewing, and I'm going to go to the tasting bar, so stick around.
Shell shock, psychoneuroses, battle fatigue, PTSD. So far as combat is concerned, I think the stress is going to be the same in any kind of a war.
I think it takes strength to recognize that you need help and to get the help.
Ask your squad leader, platoon sergeant for help. You get shot up, you don't hesitate about going for treatment. A lot of times you can be wounded in your mind. There's nothing wrong by bringing that to other people's attention and asking for help.
Going to school pregnant, riding the bus, that was hard. You just have all the stares and you have all the questions. When you get pregnant, all the stuff just goes through your mind. Abortion, adoption, keeping him. When you're 15 and pregnant, you can't do it without support. I wanted to give him a better life. I'm Miranda, and I chose adoption.
Welcome back to Spotlight Torrance. Now we're here at Monkish Brewery, and we met Henry, one of the owners of Monkish Brewery, before the break. We're going to talk a little bit more about Belgian beer because that is what you make. So tell me, here we have 2 lighter beers. How many styles of beers do you have here?
We have 12 beers on tap normally. Some days we'll tap out of one, so anywhere from 10 to 12 always available on tap.
Okay, and so you go from a light beer to a dark beer. I mean, tell me the differences between Belgian beers, because
So Belgian beers are very yeast driven. You get a lot of aromatics on the nose. I mean, when you smell it, you get a lot of fruit up front, but then also you get a lot of spicy phenolics like a white pepper or like a clove finishing. Yeah. That's actually a very interesting beer. We'll talk about. And so it tends to be also very dry and very effervescent. Belgians believe that beer is a food item, so it needs to be very dry, and so you can be able to pair it with a meal, and then it's the effervescence will actually cleanse your palate for the next bite.
Okay, so we're looking at a light beer. Is this, I don't know if this is a medium or considered a dark beer. And then we have a couple beers behind us as well.
We run the gamut from everything. Like, so here's a pink beer with hibiscus and chamomile. Like one thing we do here, we spice our beers quite a bit with a lot of herbs and a lot of flour and different kind of spices. So this is like a Belgian double, which is more brown or deep amber, and that has Szechuan peppercorns. So you'll notice.
It has an amazing smell.
Yeah, think of like lemon peel. Like this is hibiscus with chamomile, and I'm sorry, it's a saison with hibiscus and chamomile.
Now I just want to smell them all because
So this one, think of like a sparkling rosé as you drink it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a different flavor profile than your average beer.
Wow, that's.
So like this beer is a dark beer, but it's also our lightest beer.
How is that possible?
It's just use a little bit of roasted malt for the color, but we back off on a lot of the, keeping not so much malt that it keeps it very light in alcohol. And then we add sweet orange peel and cocoa nibs. So it gives
it's very, like a lot of fruits, I guess, and very, very, very tasty.
Yeah, Belgian beers, they talk a lot about like stone fruits. Think of like plums, peaches, apricots, or sometimes like dried plums or dates. Those kind of.
So we're going to talk more about that, but first, Faith Lee was out and she did some making of macaroons, and this is the holiday season, so let's check that out.
Today we're at Sprinkles and Stuff, a place where you can get all your decorating supplies like these sugar pieces and learn how to make French macaroons. For Cynthia Blackledge, her dream of owning a business has finally become a reality.
Baking has always been a passion of mine, and 12 years ago I wasn't able to do it. I had to work full time, and finally decided that all my years of saving, I decided I was going to open my own store and follow my dream.
Blackledge named the store Sprinkles and Stuff. It has every baking essential for a lower price and with a warmer smile.
The one-on-one connection I build with my customers, I go above and beyond to help everyone because I feel like that's what the experience they should have when they walk into Sprinkles and Stuff.
And that's how she began offering different kinds of workshops at her store.
I think we're just a little bit more tailored to what the customers actually want.
Blackledge gave us a sneak peek of her macaroon making workshop.
This is the most important process. If this doesn't work, your macaroons are gone.
She's whipping egg whites to a meringue, adding color and powdered sugar along the way.
And then you let them sit for about 15 to 20 minutes out. You're going to put it in the oven you're going to bring down the temperature to 300 degrees, and you're going to bake them for 16 minutes.
The class takes about an hour, and customers take home not only their favorite dessert, but the recipe as well.
We have a variety of workshops. Our most popular ones are cake pops, cookie decorating 101 for beginners. Everything is basic decorating for everybody to learn and to just kind of get their feet wet.
And to Cynthia Blackledge, Torrance is the city where her dream came true, and she plans to expand her dream along with the rest of the community.
The people, the customers, the store owners around here, everybody's like a family. Everybody gets involved and wants to help out and make sure that everybody succeeds. So yes, I love Torrance.
For Spotlight Torrance, I'm Faith Lee.
Sprinkles and Stuff has plenty of classes for you to experience along with decorating supplies. And the owner, Cynthia, even does specialty events. They're located at 1272 Sartori Avenue, and you can give them a call at 424-558-8042. Everybody looks forward to the holiday season because there's so many great foods and beverages and everything that we get to wine and dine on. Now, speaking of macaroons, is there something popular or how would you pair like something like that with a craft beer, for example?
Yeah, most of our beers will pair well with anything. I think one of the trickier foods is always pasta for some reason. But this is a Belgian triples, 9.8% alcohol, has quite a bit of oats, but also it's brewed with pistachios and vanilla bean. So a beer like that has a nice sweetness that comes through from it, but a lot of fruitiness and a creamy mouthfeel that would go very well with macaroons.
And speaking of holidays, do you specifically make any brews for the holiday season? Yeah,
so the beer we bottled today, that's called Magnificat. That is our Belgian Christmas beer. It has a lot of, it's a darker beer, but it's 10.1%, has a lot of course, malted barley, oats, rye, wildflower honey, clover honey, nutmeg, cinnamon, sweet orange peel, bitter orange peel. I must be missing another ingredient somewhere.
Yeah, no, those are some great ingredients, and definitely for the holiday season. I wonder now, how do you come up with the name? Because you called the holiday brew was
Magnificat.
Magnificat. Okay.
Number of beers, theological. So Magnificat was. It's the song that the Virgin Mary sings to God when she finds out that she's pregnant. So it's the Magnificat. That's the name of that's what they call the song.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so we do some other things, Shaolin Fist for the Chinese Szechuan peppercorns. Some are very like Rose's hips because it uses rose hips. My wife and I spend a lot of time arguing, it seems like, about names.
About what name to use. Well, if that's your worst argument, then you're doing all right.
But, yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for explaining all this to me, because some of those smell amazing, and I love all of it. So stick around after the break. We're going to talk more about microbreweries. I think we're going to go out and meet a pizza guy and, I don't know, maybe meet some patrons of the bar. See you soon.
Here at PSAID, we come together to help and support those who are affected by disasters around the world. We also know there are those who wish to make their own contributions. However, what others don't realize is the way they donate can make a difference. One factor is the additional cost of shipping. Another is whether the donation meets the necessities of those in need. So next time, please make your donations count. Donate cash.
My name is Micaela. When I came back from Iraq a few years ago, I became pregnant and ended up homeless. Until I finally found this transitional housing for women veterans with children. Then we moved into our own place. It was through VA supportive housing. I remember our first night here. I felt like I could finally breathe. My life works now. I got help from VA, and now I'm on a mission to share these resources. Call 877-424-3838.
Welcome back to Spotlight Torrance, and little did I know while we were checking out microbreweries that I would get to meet someone special. So follow me over here, Joe Bonas, who has Vella Pizza, is that right?
Mobile Wood-Fire Catering.
Mobile Wood-Fire Catering. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your business, because I never expected this to be outside the microbrewery.
Sure. Well, this is a traditional wood-fired pizza oven. All 100% brick, 100% fire. And I travel and take it to corporate events and private events all over the South Bay.
You do? Okay, so what kind of pizzas do you make out here? Because obviously you have the means to do whatever you want, pretty much.
Sure. Well, typically I go to the farmer's market in Torrance and Wilson Park. That's a great farmer's market. So my pizza is focused around fresh seasonal ingredients. So what better place to get it than locally right here in Torrance?
How do you learn? This is kind of like not craft brewing, but this is craft pizza making. So how did you learn how to make the best pizzas?
I went to Naples, Italy and trained with some of the pizza masters. Tried to learn their secrets, I guess, learn their techniques and bring them back to the South Bay and Southern California and make pizza that comes to you.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but first, because you're making me hungry, we had Hayley Skene out making gingerbread houses. Let's take a look.
It wasn't Habitat for Humanity, but these women did have a challenging task at hand in building the perfect house. Gingerbread House, that is.
The idea was to be able to just bring families together in a fun event for the holidays.
The Las Hermanas, a group of women within the YMCA, deserve a celebration. They spend most of their time together raising money for those in need. But their philanthropy was actually born out of a sense of empowerment.
Didn't want to just be PTA moms anymore, or soccer moms in that respect.
And sometimes their help exceeds expectations. Last year, they tripled their planned scholarship awardment.
And we chose one, but we were so touched by it, we found the funds for all three.
Last year's scholarship was just one of the many annual charities that the Las Hermanas partake in. And although they're a group of women, boys in the family were also welcome to this year's party.
She's a very caring leader. That's what I would say. She's a real leader.
And though the party was all about holiday fun for group members, they couldn't help resist an opportunity for goodwill. Most of the ladies are taking their houses home with them, but a few are giving theirs away to local charities. And that giving nature is just what the Las Hermanas are all about.
We are a family group that united to help promote and better mankind.
For Spotlight Torrance, I'm Hayley Skene.
The YMCA offers many youth programs and you can participate. They're located at 2900 West Sepulveda Boulevard. For more events and information, contact them at area code 310-325-5585. Speaking of building things, have you ever built a gingerbread house?
Maybe a long time ago.
Long time ago. Okay, me too. Maybe when I was little. But so this has to take.
This is very similar, except it's
Is
brick.
it? Okay.
And no, it was a project that took me about 3 months to build.
So you built this whole
Bought
thing?
the trailer right here in Carson, landscape trailer. Had some help with some friends doing the tile work, granite, but it's 100% brick, cut by hand, brick by brick, and it takes about an hour to get hot. I use cedar wood, citrus wood, and optimal temperature for making a pizza is about 900 degrees. 850, 900. And the pizza only takes about 30-40 seconds to make the pizza.
That's it, 30-40 seconds. And normally a pizza would take how long to make?
A normal pizza is baking a pizza. You're putting it in the oven, it's in there for 10 minutes, and you're baking it. This is completely different. In 30 seconds, it's not baking at all. What's happening is it's just kind of rising and transforming all in 30 seconds. And so it's almost like you're firing the pizza.
Okay, so you're a mobile spot. You're obviously here at the brewery. How often do you hang out here at Monkish?
I'm here once a week at Monkish, and then also I'll be at the other breweries in Torrance. This is such a great place to be because of all the breweries in the Golden Triangle area of Torrance.
Joe, you've made me so hungry. I'm going to try one of these pizzas for sure. And after the break, I'm going to talk to one of the customers about the growing craft beer scene right here in Torrance. And Circus Vargas is coming to town. We're going to give you a sneak peek.
Training is about more than muscle. It's about inner strength. So I push myself. That's why I serve in the United States Coast Guard. I train with the best. A team that shares my drive and commitment. We collect intelligence, guard our shores against drug smugglers, and keep our waterways safe, because our nation expects more.
If you expect more, maybe you were born ready. Find out at GoCoastGuard.com.
They said I would die.
My doctor told me I had ALS.
They said I wouldn't live to see my kids grow up.
But their doctors were wrong. Multifocal motor neuropathy, referred to as MMN, is a rare disorder that progressively weakens muscles in the extremities and is often mistaken for other serious neuropathies, as well as the ultimately fatal condition known as ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. But unlike those disorders, MMN affects only lower motor nerves and has no sensory involvement. Symptoms tend to be asymmetric and characterized by weakness, cramping, twitching, or muscle atrophy, usually beginning in the hands. Disease progression depends on the length of time the patient remains without the correct MMN diagnosis. With early diagnosis and treatment, most MMN patients continue doing the things they enjoy.
Cooking.
Gardening.
Spending time with my family.
For more information, please visit these websites.
So we're spotlighting your city here at Monkish Brewery, and I met up with a couple of the customers. Tell me who you are.
Marco.
Marco and
John.
John. Okay, so Marco and John, Why craft beer instead of, I don't know, a regular bar?
Well, it's, interesting that some people actually take time to get the flavors in, mix everything, experiment. Really, it's about experimentation of all the different flavors, blending, and if you really enjoy beer, it's really easy to differentiate between a light beer that people don't necessarily take a lot of time and effort into, and then something completely different, like a craft brew, where you can see the effort that really went into it, and you can smell it, you can taste it, and really enjoy it in a nice glass.
That's what I like the most, is when I tested all these the beers out, it was incredible because there's so many like floral and fruity tastes. I was really surprised, to be honest. Now, how do you pick a spot like this to come to? How did you find Monkish?
Well, basically just searching on the web for local breweries. We got introduced into the brewery scene with a very small type of brewery in an industrial area. But I like this kind of atmosphere because you get to actually see all the stainless steel. You get to see how they produce the beer. You get to actually come here and enjoy the beer and then see all the stainless steel that's around. Being an engineer, this fascinates me and I enjoy it.
Right now, we're going to check out Circus Vargas. They're coming to town, and I want to give you a sneak preview. Let's take a look. Circus Vargas is coming into town November 14th through the 25th, so be sure to book your tickets now by going to circusvargas.com. Thanks for joining us today on Spotlight Torrance, where we're exploring your city. I'm Christy Wilcox, and we'll see you next time.